All right, our second lesson, 10.2, looking at all geometric formulas. So we're going to look at lots of different things today, but our general formula for the area of a shaded region or a shaded area is going to be to find the area of the big shape and subtract the area of the small shape. So let's look at this first example, and then the next two will make more sense as well. It says you're buying a rug for your room. The rug is a circle that has a diameter of 7 feet. Your room is 10 feet by 12 feet in a rectangle shape. What area of the floor is not covered by the rug? So I'm going to draw our room here. It's a rectangle, and it's 10 feet by 12 feet. Oh, the long side should be 12, right? 12 and 10. And you have a rug that has a diameter of 7 feet. They're asking what area is not covered by the rug. So this part here we want to know the area of. So we're going to find the area of the big shape. In this case, it's the rectangle. Area of the rectangle. And we're going to subtract the area of the circle, the smaller shape. Okay? So area of a rectangle is just base times height. So we're going to have 12 times 10. I'm going to put it in parentheses because that's the area of that shape. And we're going to subtract the area of a circle. And our area of a circle formula is pi times radius squared. So pi times, we don't have a radius, we have a diameter of 7. So our radius is half of 7, which would be 3.5. So 3.5 squared. So let's solve each of these and then subtract. So 10 times 12, just putting a 0 on the end, is 120. And then pi times 3.5 squared, this is one I'll definitely need my calculator for. 3.5 times 3.5 times 3.14 for pi gives me 38.47 if I round to 2 decimals. So the area of the whole room is 120 feet squared, and the area of the rug is 38.47 feet squared. So if I subtract, that'll give me the area of the shaded region, or the part not covered by the rug. So 120 minus 38.47 gives us 81.53 feet squared. So we're using our formulas that we already know about geometric shapes and our formulas for circles to find the area of a shaded region. Let's look at two more. These are two separate questions here. First, area of the shaded region, area of the big shape, which is a circle, and subtracting the area of our smaller shape, which is also a circle. So we have pi times radius squared and subtracting pi times radius squared for each circle. Well, the radius for our big circle is 7, so we have pi times 7 squared, and our small circle has a radius of 4, pi times 4 squared. That will leave us with just this piece on the edge here. So pi times 7 squared first gives us 153.86, and then pi times 4 squared gives us 50.24, 50 and 24 hundredths. So if we subtract those, the area of this funny looking shape around the edge here, kind of like a ring shape, we get 153.86 minus 50.24 gives us 103.62. And we're talking about centimeters squared. That's the area of the shaded region. This one, it does even tell you to use 3.14 for pi. This one's a little bit tricky because our big shape is a rectangle, and we're going to have to subtract 3 circles. It looks like 33. I'll just write circles there. That way it'll leave us with the weird little pieces around the edge. That's the shaded part. So our rectangle is 36 by 12, base times height. And we're going to end up subtracting 3 circles, and the formula for our circle is pi times radius squared. Well, we know the diameter is 12, because that's the distance across from one edge to the other, so our radius must be 6. Pi times 6 squared. We have 3 circles, so that's why we're multiplying by 3. So let's start multiplying this all out. 36 times 12 gives us 432. And then on this side, pi times 6 squared, we get 113.04, but we need to multiply by 3 because we have 3 circles. Gives me 339.12. So right now we have the area of the rectangle and the area of all 3 circles. So if we subtract the circles, we'll get the area of the shaded part. So 432 minus 339.12, and we get 92 88 inches squared. This is the area of the portion that is shaded in. Alright, on the back side on the next page, we're looking at what is called a sector of a circle. What sector of the circle is shaded? And what is a sector? It's simply just part of a circle. So in the blue one here, what sector is shaded in? Well, half of the circle is shaded in. So if I found the area of the whole circle, pi times radius squared, once I find my answer, I could just divide by 2 to figure out what is half of that. This one is a third, so if I find the area of the whole circle, I could divide by 3 to figure out what's 1/3. And this one is a fourth of the circle. If I found the area of the whole thing, I could divide by 4 to find the area of just that piece. So it says, how much would you have eaten if you ate 2/3 of this pizza? So if we wanted to draw it into thirds, we could. But area of a circle is pi times radius squared, and our radius is 8. So pi times 8 squared, well I know 8 squared, 8 times 8 is 64, so it's really pi times 64. It's less work plugging it in your calculator that way. And our area is 200.96. But that's the area of the entire circle. We only want 2/3 of it. So if we divided by 3, that would give us 1/3, and then we could multiply by 2. So there's 2 ways we could do this. We could take 200.96 and divide by 3 to give us 1/3 of the circle, and then multiply by 2. Or we could take 200.96 and multiply by 2/3. Because by multiplying by 2/3, we really are multiplying by 2 and dividing by 3. You will get the same answer. So if I divide by 3 and then multiply by 2, we get 133.97 inches squared. So that's how much pizza I would have eaten if I ate 2/3 of the pizza. This way you get the same answer. This one was a little bit more tricky than just like a half of a pizza, because we're eating 2/3. If you divide by 3, that'll give you like this much of the pizza, but we want 2 of those pieces, that's why I multiplied by 2. Let's do a couple more like that. Find the area of the white section above the free throw line. So this portion right here. Well, let's find the area of the entire circle first, which is pi times radius squared, and we know our radius right here is 6. Well, 6 squared, 6 times 6 is 36. So pi times 36 gives us 113.04. But we only want half of that, so we're going to divide by 2. We don't want the area of the whole circle, only half of it. Our answer is 56.52 feet squared. So if I was going to paint just this half of that circle, that's how much paint I would need, 56.52 feet squared of paint. Next, find the area of 1/4 of the given circle. So we would want, like this portion. Well, the area of the whole thing, pi times radius squared, and our radius is 50. So 50 squared, 50 times 50, is going to give us 2,500 times pi, gives us a whole area of 7,850, but we only want 1/4 of the whole circle. So we could divide by 4 to give us, well, what's the area of one piece? Divide by 4, and we get 1,962.5 yards squared. All right, our last slide here, last set of questions, is really undoing our area and circumference formulas. So they're giving us the circumference in the area and want us to find the unknown piece. So choose your formula, plug in what you know, substitute in what you know, and then solve for the unknown. So circumference, our formula is pi times diameter, and we know the circumference is 88. So all we have to do is undo the opposite of multiplying by pi, would be dividing by pi, which is really 3.14. 3.14 divided by 3.14 is really just 1, so we have 1d, or just d. And 88 divided by 3.14 gives me 28.02. Oops, I put that for radius. That is our diameter, 28.02. So if that's, goodness, I did it again. If that's our diameter, our radius is half of that, only to the middle. So if we divide by 2, we would have 14.01. And we could put centimeters on those. Same thing with the next one. Our circumference is 400 yards. Oops, I don't know why I wrote that again. Our formula is pi times diameter. So our circumference is 400. Again, the opposite of multiplying by pi is dividing by pi. Pi over pi eliminates. And we have 400 divided by 3.14. And we get 127.38. Oops. 39 if we round it. That's our diameter, 127.39. Our radius would be half of that. Divide by 2. We get 63.69, or if we round it, 0.70. That would be the radius of our circle. Now this last one's a little tricky just because we have a square. The area of a circle, they're telling us, is 14, and we know the formula is pi times radius squared. So they do give us a hint down here, but I'm going to plug in what we know first. Area is 14. Just like the last couple, the opposite of multiplying by pi would be dividing by pi. Get rid of that. So we have r squared equals 14 divided by pi. Pi is 3.14. And we get 4.45 or 4.46. And then last, it says we need to undo this little power of 2. It says to undo the square, use the square root. The square root and the square are opposites of each other. They undo each other. So if I take the square root, they really cancel and leave us with just the radius. So the square root of 4.46 is 2.11. So that's all they were looking for. They did not ask us for the diameter. If they did, though, we could double it. Your homework is very similar to this. I did not put a picture of it on here, but it is the 10.2 worksheet.